Hello and welcome to the Cute Baby Tutorials using Gimp. I may do a few things in this video, so if you want to go straight to one of the main sections, then the times they start are shown on your screen now. These videos are also available in higher definition on my website, along with any original files I'm allowed to give you in case you want to work on the same image as me. Just click on the link below. Okay, here we go. Well, as you can see, it's not your typical baby smiling at the camera kind of a photograph. I think every baby has their own little things that they do, and one of the things my son used to do was this, what you're seeing right now. When he was concentrating on something, he'd stick out his tongue and put it back in and stick out his tongue, and, well, for me at least it was very sweet. So we're going to be working on this. Also, we're going to be doing black and white today, and this is not an easy image to turn into black and white because there's so many colours all fighting for the same attention. But we'll get started. So, as per usual, we're going to create a folder, call it Fix. We're going to duplicate our image, call that Base, and we're going to drag that into our Fix folder. And we're ready to go. So, the quick way of doing it, Colours, Desaturate. When faced with something like this, you might think to yourself, well, which shades of grey do I go for? Do I go for lightness? Do I go for luminosity? Do I go for average? Well, in this particular image, you've got a lot of different colours going on, so it can be difficult to decide what to do. If you're worried about what you should go for, as before, go for the face. Take a look and see what the face is doing, and then worry about all the other colours in the image. Let's face it, there's a lot of colours in this image. So that's lightness. Look at the face and we'll check luminosity. Yeah, I prefer that because the lips are naturally darker. Look at lightness. The lips are very faded. Luminosity, they're a bit darker. They stand out a little bit more. So yeah, I would go with that one. Let's try average. They stand out a bit less. No, I'd probably go for luminosity in this case. That's one way of doing it, but there's a better way of doing it, of course, and that's going to be by using Colors, Components, Channel Mixer. But we'll get to that in just a minute. I think I'll keep this image and I'll compare it with what I'm about to do. So I'm going to come back to my Layers palette and I'm going to duplicate my starting image again, and I'll call this Components. And I'll click and drag that into my folder so I can compare this with what I've just done. I'm ready to go. Before we turn this to black and white, let's do something. Let's come up to the Channels dialog and look at the different channels that make up the image. Okay, next question. Well, what are channels? Every colour in this picture is made up of a red value, a green value, and a blue value, and they are all stored here. So if I knock out the green channel and the blue channel, I'm left with the red channel. Those are all the red values in this picture. Similarly, those are all the green values, and those are all the blue values. By now you may be thinking, well, okay, that's interesting, well, so what? 3 different channels. Well, you can use one of these channels to base your grey image in, and then you can mix in different parts of the other channels. I'll show you what I mean. I wouldn't really use blue as a basis for this image. It's too dark. I'd end up with a dark grey image. Try red. Well, that's looking better than blue, and I'm getting some nice contrast in the background here. But the face, always concentrate on the face. The eyes are looking very intense there. The lips are looking a little bit washed out. Let's try the green. Yeah, the green is working better. The lips are a nice darker shade. The eyes aren't too intense and black, and I'm getting a good range of greys there. So from this, I can tell that the green channel is a good channel to base my image on. What I'm doing is taking a look at this green channel and thinking, well, what would it look like if it was all grey instead of green? But while I'm here working with channels, let's see what the green and say the blue channel looks like. So let's make the blue visible. Not going to make much of a difference if that was all grey. Let's try green and red together. Yeah, that's working a bit better, in fact, because I'm still getting a good range of values here in the head. I'm still getting the lips slightly darker, and that little bird in the background, that's standing out a little bit more as well. So if that was all grey, that might work a little bit better. So now I'm thinking, base it on the green channel, but also mix in some of the red channel. Okay, just before we go to the channels mixer, there's a gotcha here waiting for us. See here, I've got my red channel selected, my green channel selected, my blue channel is visible, but it's not selected. If I was to do my channel mixer operations now and click on OK, I'd end up with a kind of a greeny, yellowy result rather than a grey result. So I need to make sure that is checked. Now I can go through, make sure I'm on my components layer, and finally come to Colors, Components, Channel Mixer. And let's make it a bit bigger so we can see what we're doing. And here's our three channels, red, green and blue. Now we want a black and white image, so we're going to check monochrome. And sure enough, that is our red channel. We know that because here it says red 100. That's 100% by the way. Now what we want is the green channel. So let's make the red 0. Everything went black. Make the green channel 100. There, that's our green channel. Now we wanted to add a little bit of the red channel in there, so let's take our slider and start moving it up. And ooh, what happened there? The whole image is getting way too bright. The reason is green is on 100%, now red is on 36.1, so now I'm getting a brightness value in the lightest parts of 136.1. Don't need that. So let's try taking this down to say 66%, this one 34. So now I've got 66% of the green channel and 34%, or about half that amount, of the red channel. Another way of doing this is come down here, down to preserve luminosity. Then wherever I move these sliders, it'll let Gimp work out the relative values for you, so it'll all add up to 100%. Now I did say I didn't want any blue in here. Check it out, sure enough. No, it's just making things look too grey. But one thing I can do with blue, I can take it to negative values. And if I do that, that green behind is starting to become a nice brighter colour. Is it helping the bird at all? Oh, not much, but a little bit. Let's take a look. That's minus 18.1. Let's take it to 0 and see if it makes a difference. Yeah, that's looking more greyed out. So I'm going to take the blue as a negative value. That's looking quite nice. So let's click on OK now. And there's our image. Let's compare that with one we did a few minutes ago where we just desaturated, which is looking more grey. That little bird is looking very grey. The face is looking alright, not too brilliant. I prefer that. It's brighter. The bird in the background is brighter, getting greater contrast around the areas. Overall, I would say it's a better image, and that's the advantage of using components, being able to mix the red, green and blue channels together. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, maybe you consider clicking on one of the links below and check out my game called Disco Baby, which is on the iTunes Store or Android stores like Google Play. It has 3 different games in it, a memory game, a maths game for children and a dance along with me game for toddlers to join in with. Thanks for your time.